A brutal day in the mountains on stage 12 began with Sky's Geraint Thomas in yellow. His team are used to defending the jersey, but for the first 30k, they didn't have to. Riders surged and snaked and wait for it, soloed out, but none could make a move stick, sending the peloton into the friggin' enormous Col de la Madeleine climb without the usual respite after the break goes. Lotto Soudal's Andre Greipel and AG Desert's Tony Galopin went out the back, and with still 140k and 3 or category climbs to go, that's an almost guaranteed DNF. But as the climb sent riders off the back, it also let a group break free. Fortuneo, Samsics, Warren Barguil let a host of mid and top tier names clear before Sky finally began setting up their train to control the pace at the front of the group and keep any more riders from sneaking across, though a handful still managed. 14k into the climb, the break had a minute and a half and Sky's tempo eased off, allowing some riders, including EF's long-suffering Lanterne Rouge, Lawson Craddock, to get back in touch. After over an hour of climbing, Quickstep's KOM leader Julien Alaphilippe sprinted clear of the still massive break to extend his KOM lead, and after the descent even found time to offer this hard-working camera team a drink. Not everyone was up for a snack break, though. EF's Pierre Roland hit out at 98k to go to claim the photogenic but not particularly challenging Lacet de Montvanier climb. But at the foot of the even more enormous Croix de Fer at 81k to go, Lotto and El Jumbo's Steven Kruijswijk led a bridge across from the rest of the break before hitting out solo 9k later with still 18k left of the climb alone. Despite standing 6th overall, his attack didn't trigger any immediate reaction from Sky. But as cameras chronicled Craddock's thunderous dissatisfaction with a bottle request and news of yet another sprinter abandoning, Kruijswijk's lead ballooned to over 6 minutes, when AG Desert and Movistar began pitching in with the chase. It kinda makes sense. AG Desert's Romain Bardet and Movistar's Mikael Landa had been just seconds behind Kruijswijk at the beginning of the day, but Sky were the ones who stood to lose yellow if the gap were managed, which I think is significantly worse than being even more 7th placed. Plus, even as climbing Domestique while Pouls fell off at 58k to go, there are still at least 5 Sky riders in touch, much more than I can see for Movistar or AG Desert. Anyway, Kruijswijk cleared the top about 6:10 ahead of an elite Movistar-led group that still had 4 Skyriders in it, who then proceeded to paceline the ensuing descent and flat section, clawing 2 minutes out of Kruijswijk's lead before the final climb to Alpe d'Huez even began. They then did what anyone who's watched an uphill finish for the past decade would expect, setting a fierce tempo with Michał Kwiatkowski and Egan Bernal until 2k into the climb, the group was down to just 12 with Neri and AG Desert Domestique in sight. But it's not like they completely steamrolled everyone else. Bahrain Merita's Vincenzo Nibali made a convincing effort at 9.4k to go, and Movistar's Nairo Quintana duplicated it half a k later, though thanks to Bernal, both had a similarly unsuccessful result. Up the road, Kruijswijk was hanging on, only slowly bleeding time while enduring cycling fans at their worst. A big attack from Landa and a counter from Bardet finally snapped Sky's tempo-setting elastic, but also began slashing deeply into the Lotto NL riders' advantage, dropping it to just 2 minutes while Bernal's tempo in response finally shelled Quintana. To say that the fans on Alpe weren't at their best would be something of an understatement, and while I can at least understand the lusty boos, the repeated pushes, yes, even those intended to support a particular rider, video selfie runs, and failures to even set a proper pick were inexcusable. And it's a shame because today's GC race was solid. Bernal finally ran out of gas 4.5k out, and Thomas dutifully took up pacemaking for Chris Froome. This slowly brought the gap to Bardet down, and at 4k, Froome launched an attack that, unfortunately, the cameras pulled away from. You can see him closing on Bardet through the flare haze moments later as Dumoulin and Landa scoot around Lotto NL's Primo Roglic to follow. But as Froome closed on Bardet, the first rider to his wheel was Nibali, who unfortunately ran afoul of what appears to be a wayward camera strap through this ineffectually policed melee of fans. Hope your Flickr page was worth it, bro. After exiting the crowd, Froome caught and passed Bardet as Dumoulin ground his way back up with Thomas on his wheel. Bardet was caught and both groups made quick work of Kruijswijk, who's probably looking back and wondering where Roglic went. As Dumoulin caught Froome at 2.9k to go, Bardet tried a probing attack but peeled off after Froome met it easily, and the quartet fanned out across the road. Landa rejoined at 2.6k to go, prompting another attack from Bardet, who really went after it this time, down in the drops with shades of Marco Pantani. Froome brought it back and Dumoulin countered but couldn't shake Thomas, and as Froome brought Bardet back on, the Sunweb rider found himself in the awkward position of wanting to keep at the front to better respond to attacks without doing work that might end up helping his opponents. As a result, the chasers, including a resurgent Nibali, slowly made their way back on. Landa regained contact just outside the final K and attacked a few hundred meters later. Thomas responded immediately before sprinting out of the final corner, gapping Dumoulin with ease and extending his lead on Froome in the overall to 1:39 seconds. Despite the carnage, Nibali easily outpaced the others on the final pitches of the climb, coming in just 13 seconds down. But he was later forced to abandon with a fractured vertebrae as a result of his crash, leaving us all to wonder what might have been if the organizers had provided a properly protected course. I'm Cosmo Catalano, and that's how the race was won.